Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have such a special guest, Emily Brumman. Am I saying your last name right, Brumman?
You are. You're perfect.
With me, and I have been working with her for since the fall. Jen Baer had been bugging me to work with her for a long time. Jen and I are really good friends, and so she's like, you just got to work with her. She'll help you and Derek. And I was like, I don't know. It's expensive. Is it really worth my time? That's not income producing. And so I really didn't find the value in it yet. And then I had heard so many other stories. We went to Earn Your Wings this past June or July. And, they spoke about her there and how it's helped so many people on Team Anchored's team, and then Kayla's team and Kelly's team. And so I was just like, okay, I need to look into this more. And then it really was after Celebration where I made her grab my husband and be like, okay, you guys, we have to work together. So it started about after Celebration, and she's been doing this strengths finding coaching for about 3 years. And I'm just going to let her really just share how she got into it, and and then I will share after a little bit how it's really helped me in my relationship with my husband and as a leader. So go ahead, Emily.
Sure. Well, thanks, you guys. It's so nice to be with you on your team page. And just really, I'll start with how I got introduced to strengths, which is kind of fun. So we'd actually been doing strengths at my church for quite a while. I'd taken the assessment, but had never been coached in it. And so I kind of knew, and then I put the results, kind of on the shelf, like it wasn't a big deal. But I came through in corporate, and then I was in politics, and God really called me out of those, and I didn't know what I needed to do next. And so what happened was I saw a post from a good friend who was a coach and kind of a mentor of mine. And I reached out to him and I said, I need this, because it talked about finding your purpose and really doing what you do best. And so I reached out to him and started coaching with him. And where we started was StrengthsFinder. And the reason we started here is because knowing who you are, how you were created, how God made you when he's knitting you together in your mother's womb, that really informs how you lead, how you interact with people, and just really how you can find your purpose in life. So from there, I just really found that I loved coaching. I realized that through my life, I love to pour into and empower and disciple women and lead teams at work. And so really found a niche and a love for coaching. It's absolutely my greatest desire in life to see people understand who they are and be able to lead effectively using those talents. And so it just so happens that I had started coaching. We were hadn't even moved out to Portland yet. We were still living in Nebraska. And I happened to be with my brother, John, and my sister-in-law, Laura, at a right after Celebration a couple of years ago. So probably about a little over 2 years ago. And I noticed some communication misses that they were having just in their marriage, actually. It wasn't even having to do with Isagenix. And I said, can I just coach you guys for a moment? And so had them both take the assessment. We ended up spending a couple of hours while the kids were napping, talking through just their top 5 at that point. And almost immediately, Laura called me and said, I need you to work with my executives. What happened was she was noticing what she was doing. We have certain things that we do just because that's who we are. And they were noticing how it was creating conflict, or they weren't realizing how they were communicating with each other, and knew that they needed to have some changes in how they communicated to help feed how the other one needed to be talked to. And the same thing happens in leadership. So as we look at our teams, you may be very different from some of your team members. And so understanding who you are and how you lead can actually help you to make sure you're doing what your team members need to be led. So that's kind of where it started, and has kind of blown up from there, honestly. About half of my practice, or a little bit over, is Isagenix professionals, which is really wonderful. And so I love that I have a really good knowledge on Isagenix. I use the products, I share the products. God has really called me to coach and not business build at this point, but I still go to all of the events. And what that does is it gives me that knowledge of Isagenix and being able to really fold that into when we coach. So, like Meredith, with you, for instance, when we talk about some of your talents, your woo and how you connect with people and how you network, and we can really tie that into how you can use that to prospect, how you can use that to work with your team. I have many clients that I'll talk to them and we'll say, okay, so specifically, how does this help you with your team? So Strengths is about 40 years old. The research has been going on for about 40 years. And really what it tells us is there are 34 talents, and everyone has those 34 talents in a different order. And really, I'll give you just a few of the statistics. So when I get your report, I'll look at your top 10 right away and give you a report that says what your top 10 are. So for someone to have the same top 5 as you, not even in the same order, it's 1 in 278,000 people. So it's a huge number, right? So if we're looking at top 5 in order, it's 1 in 33 million. So now we're talking about 12 to 15 people in the United States have your same top 5. And that's, there's uniqueness right there. Now we go to top 10 and it's 1 in 447 trillion. So literally you're the only person that has ever walked the earth with your top 10 in the same order, statistically, of course. And then if we go to your full 34, if you go pick up a grain of sand from the nearest lake or ocean, for those of you who are blessed enough to live by the ocean, go pick up a grain of sand. You're more unique than that grain of sand is to every other grain of sand on the face of the earth. That gets me, because that tells us that we need to meet together and talk about how you were made. How is it that your talents mix together and make you who you are? And then how do you use that? So it's kind of a 3-step process that we go through when we meet and talk about your talents. We talk about the first step is name it. So we start to talk about the words we use for each strength or each talent. And what we do is we talk through those. And as you start to hear them, most people are saying, oh my gosh, this is why I do what I do. Oh my gosh, I do that all the time. So there's this identification with the words. We're giving words to some things that you've always done. And then next step is claim it. We look at, okay, tell me instances in your life when you use this, whether it's in your family, whether it's with your children, whether it's in the workplace. And then third, and probably my favorite, and probably sometimes the hardest, is aim it. How do we take that talent, now that you understand it, how do you intentionally use it to impact your world, your business, your family? And so we look holistically at all of the different domains of life, not just vocation. But when you move forward from there, most of the time people say, oh my gosh, I just noticed that I'm using my achiever talent, or I'm starting to, intentionally see that. So that's kind of how we work through. We also goal set, which I love because we goal set through the view of our talents. And then we look at your non-patterns. Where are you not strong? What are those places that don't have a lot of intensity at all? And I need to partner with others. So there's another great way. Maybe you're not high achiever, but one of your team members is. How can you work together to have her kind of be that achiever voice in your head? If you are high harmony and you've got somebody on your team that's high command, that can rub sometimes the wrong way. But if we learn how to help each other, it can actually be used to our advantage. Right. So. All right. How's that sound?
That's exactly really what I've learned. And I think, okay, well, first tell me this. How long is, like, if I'm like, okay, I don't have much money and I want to do this and I want to know, like, how long does that take?
Yeah. So full 34 coaching is about 5 sessions. We can, if you're budget conscious, absolutely, we can say we're going to stay on track and do 5 sessions. And basically what we'll do is we'll spend the first 3 sessions going over at least your top 10. And then what we'll do with the 4th session is goal set. So we'll look at your goals through that view of your talents. And then the 5th session will be your non-patterns. So we can absolutely do that in 5 sessions.
Okay. And I want to say just about doing this with your spouse, especially if you are working in Isagenix with your spouse, or they're just there to support you or whatever it may be. I know you've been with us, me and Derek, for a while, and it has helped us tremendously. Really just, in so many different ways, just like giving him permission, me permission, and really just me understanding him and like why he may not hear me when I say it a certain way or whatever, and really be able to talk to each other in a way that he can hear or whatever, vice versa. And so that's been just, I mean, it's such a gift just for our marriage. So I highly recommend if you guys are doing this with your spouse, or even just like having a spouse who is supporting you, do this with them. And you can do them separately. Like you guys don't have to do that together.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's best to do it separately, but.
Yeah, I have spouses who choose both ways. So some of them say, no, we want to do it separately, but we'd like to have a session at the end where we come together to talk about it. And then I have spouses who say, no, I want to do everyone together. It just depends on where you're at in your marriage and what kind of issues you need to work through. And it's okay.
Right.
It doesn't mean your marriage is stronger or not, or weaker. It just means, or it could be a time commitment issue,
Right.
Wife may be just available in the mornings and the husband at night. It doesn't, who knows?
Right. And I do want to say too, that a lot of my friends are using you, and it's just so awesome to me because I've been so blessed by it. But some of them have said how even in such a short period of time, they've like felt this empowerment and like almost this like permission to be who they are and realize, wow, this strength, I'm actually good at this. And Emily helps you like hone in on that and how you can direct it towards Isagenix. So she was saying how she's like now really good at prospecting because she had this one strength and she just like directed that a little bit more. And I love how we don't really focus on our weaknesses. You focus on your strengths and you play with your strengths, and then you find other people to fill in those weaknesses. And I feel like we are a team. All of us have teams, and just kind of like your body, like if you are an arm and you're really good at being an arm, you can't play the foot. And there are people who are really good at being the foot. So we need to figure out what our strengths are and really play to those. Yeah. And so I really encourage you guys to do that.
Love it. You know what? That's absolutely one of my favorite things is for people to really get confidence. I think self-awareness comes when we start to be aware of who we are, but then confidence really quickly comes after that. And people can use that confidence and say, yes, I am a really good prospector, or yes, I'm a great goal setter. I was doing a team session with a group. So I actually worked with an entire team. It was given to, all the executives on the team. And then we got together the day before celebration for like 3 hours and talked about and affirmed each other for the strengths in the group. And it was so much fun because one of the team members was all about relationship. And so she was the one that would call the leader and say, so-and-so's having a rough week. I can tell just by Facebook. You need to reach out. And then another member of the team was a fantastic goal setter. And so you started to see them say, oh, I'm going to have so-and-so call you because they need goal setting. And I'm not great at goal setting. And so so-and-so is wonderful at this. And so I need your help in that. So it was really wonderful to see how that team got stronger simply by understanding how they could help each other be their best.
Yeah. And I think that that's really important. And that's really cool to say that because I'm going through my strengths, and some of us probably know what some of our strengths are, but it would be really awesome if like we all as a team did the strengths finding and figured out and honed in our strengths so that even as a leader, we know, okay, well we're always going to go to this person because they love to delegate or they love to plan parties or whatever it may be. And I'm a really super lack in that. And I don't know, like sometimes I just feel like I'm one person and we have this huge team and I don't want it all to be on my shoulders. I want all of us to we're all the same. We're like no one's higher than anybody. We're all the same. And we just want to be able to use our strengths to our advantage as a team. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
We don't want well-rounded leaders. We want well-rounded teams. And
right.
So if you remember that and we can help each other and use each other, then what we stop being jealous of. Oh, I'm jealous of this. I bring this to the table. She brings this to the table. We get to come alongside and really encourage and love and walk, forward together. And that's really, really important.
Right. And I think just to touch on like this isn't income producing. This is absolutely income producing because it grows you just like any other personal development, but this is very specific to yourself. This will grow you so much as to like, so I realize that my top strength is woo. And I didn't really know what that meant. And I just knew that I don't know, like to meet people and have them like me back and things like that. But it's a really good top strength for networking and for connecting. And I realized that that's okay. And so if you are good at something, but maybe you're like playing that strength down because, I don't know, you're not like everybody else or whatever, this really does help you. It is income producing because it teaches you who maybe you do connect well with and who you need to go after. And that could be your tribe. So, yeah, I can't stress this enough. And I think that, really, I would say this is the best investment that you can make in your life, but in your Isagenix business as well. Just to be a better person and better all around. So I would say set aside some money or know that you like get some double PIBs or whatever you need to do. But know that this is a tax write-off. So this is for your business. So write it off and really invest in your marriage or invest in your team relationship, your relationship with your best friend, your mom, whoever, and do it. I don't know.
Yeah. What I found with some of the ways that people have done it is, I understand it's a budget, that people need to budget this out. And so, maybe we meet it once every 2 weeks instead of once a week. And if we, know ahead of time that we are absolutely going to stick to 5 sessions and it's going to be once every other week, we're just really conscious of that fact. And then if you think about it, once every other week, it's, maybe 1.5 cycles. So think of it in terms of cycles. And if this can help your cycles grow, then it becomes worth it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. And Emily, I will post below like Emily's information to reach out to her. And she also does have another thing that she does too, which she can get into, not today, but if you are on the call with her, it's called Fresh Start. And so that's her ministry as well. So ask her about that. And I just really appreciate you guys being with us today. And thanks, Emily, for sharing all that you give to the world. I love it. Your strength is definitely being used, blessing people. So
thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.